All right, I'm live. Hi, I'm Ken Schaefer, and I'm here to discuss all things related to men's sexual health. To start with, I wanted to talk about injections, specifically trimix injections, sometimes bimix injections. And these are compounds that are mixed together by your doctor in various amounts. And I don't know all the details about what medications they use and what percentage they use of each. It varies from doctor to doctor and patient to patient. But these are injections that you take these compounds and inject it directly into your penis to get an erection. All right. Unfortunately, there seems to be a pattern or a script that doctors use when treating erectile dysfunction. And it goes something like this: you go to your doctor, you complain of erectile dysfunction, and the doctor gives you a testosterone test. You come back and he looks at the testosterone test and probably interprets it incorrectly. Unfortunately, most doctors think that just because your testosterone is within the normal range, that your testosterone levels are just fine. And that simply isn't true. Unless you have extremely low testosterone, he's going to tell you your testosterone is fine. And then they're going to throw Viagra at you. They're not going to do anything about trying to find out what the underlying cause of your erectile dysfunction is. They're not going to do anything to investigate what health condition that you have is causing erectile dysfunction, or what medication are you taking that is causing erectile dysfunction. Instead, they are just going to address the symptoms. This is unfortunately the state of medicine in this country. Doctors are more often just addressing the symptoms rather than the underlying causes. And it's not just with erectile dysfunction, it's many other conditions. First, they're going to throw Viagra or Cialis or one of the other drugs that are similar to those two. And they'll probably work. For most men, they'll work for a while. And unfortunately, because they are not addressing the underlying cause of your erectile dysfunction, your condition gets worse over time. And the little blue pills will stop working. Then what? So they still don't try to find out what what the real problem is. They still continue to address the symptoms. And the next step is usually to try a trimix injection. I am not against the use of Viagra and trimix. There are men who have no choice but to use these. They're just not going to be able to address the underlying cause of their erectile dysfunction. But they should be used as a last resort, not as a first resort. The first resort should be find out what the actual problem is, because erectile dysfunction is usually caused by some other health issue or the pharmaceuticals used to address some other health issue. And in some cases, it's many health issues and many different pharmaceuticals. Okay, so then what happens? Eventually, the trimix injections will stop working. And then your next step is to get an implant. And all this time, the doctors have never told you to change your lifestyle, to adopt healthy practices like healthy diet, exercise, getting adequate sleep, avoiding toxins. This never comes up. They never look at your medications and try to determine if one of the side effects of the medication is potentially erectile dysfunction. And it might not just be that you're taking one medication, it may be the combination of medications you're taking. Trimix injections, I have nothing against using them if they're needed. If the doctor has gone through all the things that he or she can do to find out what health condition you have. And people, unfortunately, in America and I don't know about other countries, but in America, the doctors are keeping us from being sick. They are not keeping us healthy. And there's a difference between not being sick and being healthy. There's this range in between where maybe you're not sick, but you're not thriving physically, or you're on the edge of sickness, but you're not sick. But it will just take one little uh, event to send your health tumbling. This is unfortunately the state of medicine in this country. You need to advocate for yourself. You need to push your doctors. Don't just accept a treatment to address your symptoms. Now, sometimes while your doctor is looking to uncover the underlying cause of your erectile dysfunction, they can use Viagra or Trimix injections as a temporary measure until your health is recovering or until they've addressed the underlying condition. They can use it so that you can continue to have sex with your partner or partners. All right, I'll end that discussion there. Again, trimix injections are in and of themselves not a bad thing, but they should be used as a last resort, not as a first resort or a second resort. Okay, uh, another I word is isolation. Okay, why am I talking about isolation? Isolation is rampant right now. People are isolated, and from the data I've been looking at, men in particular are extremely isolated. Most men have very few friends, if any friends. Most men don't have anyone to confide in, including sometimes their spouse or their children or their parents. They, they seem to be trapped in a situation where no one really cares about how well they're doing. No one wants to hear men complain, and this has an isolating effect. And isolation, in my opinion, is a form of pain and suffering. People need human contact. They need people they can confide in. And mental and emotional pain can manifest as physical problems. It can even manifest as erectile dysfunction. I would like for everyone out there, if you're feeling alone, if you're feeling isolated, if you don't have anyone you can confide in, anyone who cares about your problems, reach out. If you have to, pay a psychologist or a mental health worker to listen to you and to give you advice. It's tragic that people have to resort to paying someone to care about them, but that's the state of the way things are. And there's a lot of reasons why people are isolated. The internet is keeping people in front of their screens, whether it's now they're carrying around a portable phone, and when they're home, they're in front of their laptop and they're communicating through social media. But that isn't the way we were meant to communicate. We were meant to communicate in person, where you can hear the other person, they can hear you, you can see them, you can see their facial expressions, you can see their body language. And the internet tends to mute all that. Even if you're on video screens and talking on Zoom or whatever, it's just not the same. You need to get out. You need friends. Go out and find friends. Foster friendships, both with men and women. The more friends you have, the more social opportunities will open up for you. And that can lead to an end of your isolation. It can lead you perhaps to finding someone who you love and you want to spend the rest of your life with. So until then, thank you for watching and goodbye.